Hi, my name is Cassandra and I'm a kinesiologist. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you some exercises that are of advanced difficulty for people who have knee osteoarthritis and want to get stronger. Let's get started with a warm-up. You'll need your body and a wall. We're going to begin with some calf raises. So put your hand on the wall if you need support, and we're going to start with 5 calf raises. Both legs going up onto your toes. 3, 4, and 5. You're now going to put your back up against the wall. Lean a little bit back, place your weight on your heels, and then you're going to lift both your toes at the same time. 5 as well. You're going to keep your back up against the wall, keeping your back neutral, and then with feet about hip width apart, you're going to slide down the wall in a quarter squat. So you're not going to go as far as 90-degree bend of your knee, but just a little bit, just until your toes disappear behind your knees. So if you're looking down, just about that much bend. 4 and 5. Next, we're going to be doing a hip hinge. You're still going to need the wall here. You're going to be about half a foot away from the wall, and you're going to imagine bending at the axis point right at your hips, keeping your legs fairly straight. You're going to keep a neutral spine here, and you're going to tap slightly back towards the wall. And you're going to do 5 here. 3, 4, and 5. Great. The last exercise, you're going to be doing a toe tap, just to get some weight on one leg versus the other. So, hand on the wall if you need support, and you're going to take one leg out to the side, and you're just going to tap to the side like so. 3, 4, and 5. And now you're going to do the other side. Transfer your weight. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Great. For this set of exercises, you're going to need a mat, potentially a weight, and yourself. You're going to start on your back first, and you're going to be doing a bridge with a hold and a march. So, lying on your back, belly button in, squeeze your glutes. You're going to lift up into a regular bridge, but you're going to add a lift of the heel. So you're going to have a transfer of your weight onto one leg. Okay? You're going to lift one leg, bring it back down, lift the other leg. When you're doing this, make sure that your hips stay in the same level and that they're not dropping down either side. Okay? So keep your hips parallel to the floor as you march. You're going to have to do so by really squeezing the glute on that side that is your stance leg. Once you've done about 8 to 10 lifts, you're going to lower your hips. Coming down. You're now going to do a core exercise. You're going to have both legs up in the air and keeping your back nice and neutral, keeping the core engaged. You're going to straighten out one leg at a time. This is what we call a supine cycle. So you're going to stretch out one leg, float it above the ground. You're going to bring it back up. Do the other side. Remember to keep the back nice and neutral on the mat, not letting it arch as you stretch out your leg. Once you've done about 10 of these, we're going to transition into side lying. If the pressure allows on your knee, you're going to do a side plank. So you're going to stack both knees on top of each other. You're going to align your knees with your hips and your shoulders so you're in one long line. You're going to tuck in your elbow just a little bit more than you think. And then you're going to raise up into a side plank. This hand is going to be either over your chest or on your hips and not pressing down on the floor. Okay? So drive into the knee and your elbow, squeeze your shoulders together, and you're going to lift up. You're just going to go for about 3 to 5 seconds to start. Once this gets a little bit easier, you can increase the time. So we'll just do a 5-second hold. Going down, we're gonna do 5 in total. 2 more. And the last one. All right, let's do the other side. So you're gonna flip over. You're gonna have both legs stacked on top of each other. Nice long line. And then tuck your elbow just a little bit in more than you think. You're gonna go up. Hold for 5 seconds. Come back down. This is the third. And relax. Great. Now we're going to move away from the mat and do some standing things. You're going to start with a free body squat. So what you're going to do, hips about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. You're going to look at your toes. They're going to be straight forward or slightly turned out, as comfortable for your hips and your knees. And then you're going to start with hinging first at the hips, sinking down and back like you're sitting down in a chair. Okay? I like either the hands across the chest, or forward is fine too, or together like this. You're going to sink down just as far as comfortable. So if you're finding knee discomfort with going down really low, then go a little bit more shallow to start. Again, keeping your chest nice and upright. Now we're going to do 10 in total here, so that's 4. Good. 9 and 10. Now it's important to note when you're doing a squat, if you do have a slight turnout of your feet, just make sure that your knees are also aligned with that angle. So if you do have a little bit of a wider stance, for some people a sumo squat a little bit wider is more comfortable, make sure that your knees are also tracking along that line and not falling inwards, which can be uncomfortable. So if it's starting to get a little bit easier for the squat, you can also add a bit more weight or do more reps. So you can do something called a goblet squat, where you have the weight right close to your chest. The technique stays the same for the squat, but you're going to add that extra weight on top. So same form, keeping the weight nice and close to your chest, and completing the same amount of reps. Now we're going to work on a little bit of balance. So if it's pretty easy to stand on one leg for you, we're going to add a bit more of a dynamic motion into it. Okay? You're going to have one leg being your stance leg, the other leg is going to be the moving leg, and it's going to be along the same line as your chest coming forward. So you're going to hinge a bit at your waist, and then like you have a board along the other side of your body, you're going to move forward with the hips and the legs going back. Keeping your hips nice and square and non-turning out or in. I'll show you on the other side so you can see it a little bit better in the camera. You're going to have a nice stance leg on that leg. You're going to move forward and come right back up. Again, keep the range that's comfortable for you. If you need a smaller range with just a really small hinge that you can do with good form, stay there. If you can go deeper, try that as well. Maybe having a little bit of a knee bend when you go. Try that about 6 to 7 times per side. It might be a little bit tricky at first just to get your balance with that added movement, so practice with a chair beside you or at the wall first before you start on a single leg. Okay, now let's get ready to cool down. The benefit of the cool down is to let our muscles to relax after exercise and to return our body to a normal state. So you're gonna need a band like this that's a bit heavier, or a belt works as well, something firm. You're gonna be starting by stretching the muscles of your calf right back here. You're gonna put the band around the forefoot here, and you're going to tension the band pulling towards you, bringing your toes towards you, getting a nice stretch in the lower leg. Okay? You're gonna do this for about 30 seconds. Relax your arms, and then bend your knee a little bit and do the exact same motion. So here we're stretching a slightly different muscle. Again, holding for about 30 seconds, keeping the tension there, feeling a good stretch to mild discomfort at the back of your leg. If you're finding it's painful, just release your foot, release the tension a little bit. Once you've done that on both sides, you're still going to use the belt or band, and you're going to have that help you, assist you to bend your knee back and forth. So you're going to bring your knee up towards you, using your arms to go back and forth. Now, if you do this with a sock on a smooth surface, you'll glide a little bit better than wearing shoes. You're going to do this about 10 to 15 times as comfortable before switching to the other side. Great work! You're all done with these exercises. I would recommend doing these exercises at least once daily for best results. If they're starting to get a little bit easy, just increase the reps or the depth, like bending your knee a little bit further, or it may be time to progress to the next level. Keep up the good work!